Now, you can see the whole image processing follows reverse of engineering. In natural products, we do not design the rice or we do not create the grains dimensions and all that the way we do in engineering. It is the other way around, we actually measure them through this process. So, this black and white is something like black and white drawing you can say, but at the moment this aspect of the image has lost all the colors. So, this is as I said only red color segmented as binary image for dimensional measurements. The color measurements are done separately. So, this becomes the basis for color segmentation afterwards. This is the first step you can say. No, we do not do anything on equalization, no way, never. It is very nice on enhancement, but we do not do equalization. Equalization is required to improve the appearance.
Then taking the histogram
We take as it is.
What was done with that
Histogram gives us the calculation of threshold. In a way, histogram gives us a feeling of where they lie, what statistical distribution they carry on background as well as grain. So, that way gives us a middle point. We safely take a middle path, keeping the rice grains on one side, background on the one side and the rice grains on the other side, and you can see this now. It is a perfect black, jet black with jet white, not jet white, I do not know what you call it as perfect white. So, it is a 2 color image now binarized. So, this is where we can make the dimensional measurements. Now, see, now it is very much like putting rice grains on the drawing board. That is where I mentioned reverse engineering. We are not producing grains by engineering, but we are measuring them for their quality and dimensions. So, in this case they appear as if we have acquired them on the drawing board, and every grain's center, every grain's boundary box has been obtained, and as you can see the indexing has also been done. The numbers are visible, I do not know if you can see, the numbers are visible, and some of them still closely not leaving the friends position, they are very close, tightly coupled with each other. Some of them are, you can see there number 3 here, they are 2 together. Well, I do not know whether this image is shown later on for water shedding, but the effect of water shedding will separate the images, separate the grains which are very closely touching each other. So, in the grains also we do not want them to be in this manner of socialization you can say. So, going ahead with this is called blob analysis. By the way, the title blob analysis is binary large object. Though in this case the gray image is shown, one of the gray images say red color image, it has been shown, but it has been obtained through the process that I mentioned just before, that was binarization. So, that image has been used to index the grains, to make the dimensions, the parameters you will see in a report, full report, all grains dimensions, it is like index wise, like a class report in roll number wise, and then dimensions are available apart from the color parameters that are kept separately. So, we are talking about the monochrome color based dimension measurement first. So, this shows the indexing and labeling as well. Labeling and indexing are the same thing. That means, they have been labeled that at this place grain number 1 is lying, at this place grain number 2 is lying. So, each position has been marked inside the table.
So, this blob analysis I am not aware of it, but is this facility there in image processing toolbox of MATLAB?
No way, the whole project is not using MATLAB. MATLAB studies were done in the beginning for say color feature extraction, some rules adjustment for values, which values range analysis as we call it. It is like for what ranges the red grains are lying. So, just computing the histograms on red, green and blue, those HSI that I will come now, to see those dimensions, to see those statistics only these were used, but MATLAB cannot generate a project of this kind. Now comes the question of which tool. Now, we have what we call a library of Matrox imaging library, MIL. That is a development tool. You will find that a lot of development tools are used in this. So, the development tool is MIL, Matrox imaging library, that gives us the process of blob analysis, this process. So, blob analysis means binary large object, all large objects of binary nature are counted for their indexing as well as their dimensions and geometrical measurements. So, there is a list of parameters, you can choose which one you want the library and then use the functions as dynamically linkable library DLLs. So, the project gets integrated with it and we get the outcome as this. Now, the water shedding, as I mentioned, the grains here are showing the whole image now. Now, though closely you may not see, now the enhanced version of the image is visible, not enhanced, sorry, enlarged version, the full view. This is actually the full view. Now, you can imagine a camera cannot generate a 300 dots per inch resolution on an A4 kind of image so easily with this quality. Now, this is something like 3000 by 2500 kind of. So, it is a 6 megapixel or more than that image that we are acquiring in each go, and it takes a sort of few seconds to acquire the image. As you know, the scanner's movement is not as fast as camera click. So, this is how it is. Now, in this case, this shows the effect of water shedding. Then there are other effects here. This also shows sometimes wrongly, this could not separate here rightly, but it has separated wrongly. This cannot be, could not be separated. Now, this might be even wrongly separated. So, water shedding also may not be perfect. It may be doing, if the parameters are not chosen appropriately, or if the sample is not appropriately placed. As you can see, the two grains here joined almost parallelly with each other, you cannot assume them separate. The algorithm cannot find them. I am not giving you again details of this. The details is simply that if there are two centers emerging, like a cell, cell breaking up, it is like if a cell is breaking up, if they find that there are two centers that one could locate through statistical approach, then the algorithm tries to make a cut in between. An axial cut is found that okay, it seems that two objects are joined, like naturally you find bananas are available as two, sometimes naturally they are grown together, sometimes mangoes and all. So, you find that actually they are twins kind of situation, they have just got coupled naturally and their centers could be thought of imaginarily. Same way in this case, it is assumed that the objects are just close, but their original centers are different. If you can think of an algorithm, well, the details I can give you later on, then it tries to actually separate them, make an orthogonal cut in between and then separation is possible, but sometimes there could be a wrong estimation also.
Sir, in this situation it will give wrong classification at least?
Yes, it will give wrong classification. Yes, anything we are doing, if you are not maintaining the truth while searching for truth, yes, the end result is bad result. It may be that finally we get some error in that particularly say if we wrongly cut in between, the dimensions may be wrongly placed, or a particular grain may be, now this will be shown as one grain which will have a double dimension. Now, the advantage with the other parameters availability is that through some other post processing we may know that how a grain can be so thick. So, if you find the dimension of this grain, we can remove them from analysis. So, there is some segregation possible at a later stage due to the oversized dimensions. Say a particular grain is going too long because the grain got joined with it. So, some level of separation is segregation is possible as post processing, but some level of is still not possible. As you can see, if the grain is broken by this algorithm as here, I do not know if it is rightly or maybe wrongly cut, or if there is an error here, as you can see, then probably the dimension might be wrongly calculated, or any error can occur due to this chopping behavior. So, it is up to us or ask the person to place each grain slowly, each grain not touching each other, it will take more time. Either you take more time or algorithm would take more time with some error, some objectivity, some error. So, some allowed percentage of error has to be there because of the level of carefulness, the way the sample is placed, or one could think of improvement in that as well.
By using the major axis and minor axis
Mm-hmm.
on the grains, we can very easily detect that there are some of the grains are to be rejected.
Yes, no, but the dimensions are indicating of what can be rejected. Post processing can give some of them, not all of them. As I said, if there is a cut here, you will not know that the length was wrongly calculated. So, it may appear as broken, it will be classified as broken while actually it is not broken, and this grain will unnecessarily have more area in calculation and may find difficulty in classification. So, some of the errors, as I said, can be processed as a post process correction, some of them cannot be done. It is like you have a spell checker, you may have some spelling correction, but some of, if you do to so much of bad typing, that is even spell checker cannot do it. So, it is the post processing is similar to that, like spell checker post processing. Some of these can be taken care of, some of them still cannot be taken care of. So, there is there is always a kind of risk involved in it. Now giving you the labeled kernel image, the labeled kernel image here again shows what I said earlier. Now, here you can see each grain has been watershed. Now, it is showing you the outcome on the original image. Actually, the processing is done on a binary image. So, many times you find the labeling, they say putting a box, putting an index is differently done. It is a layer on the original image. It is just to show on the original image, these boxes have been drawn on the original image. The processing is not done now, the original image has been processed and binary image is being used. So, this blob analysis gives you that, and water shedding still could not do this, as you can see. So, in this case some of them may still remain joined and may continue to remain, say, a long grain which you know that naturally is not possible. So, a prior knowledge can help you there as post processing. Now comes the training aspect. I think I have taken color. Okay, giving you some color attributes. I think details of color have not come here in the visible. Just to give you that these boxes which were indicative here can generate different each grain's images separately. It is up to you. We chose to separate them. We could have kept them together also, since we knew their placement. We have actually separated each image and taken background also. Now, you can see in some of the, in this case for example, the box for 254 is also shared by 260. So, we had made an arrangement wherein we can remove the encroachment by the other grain. So, each grain was separated for its color classification separately. So, like in this grain, say in this sample, say 400 grains were available. So, each image gets separated as 400 images, 400 red images, 400 green images, 400 blue images of the original sample, and then comes HSI, which I mentioned earlier. So, I think the color image processing details are not given here as visuals. Then each HSI, each RGB is converted into HSI by the model that we discussed earlier. So, we convert RGB to HSI for each cut image, as we call it. Each grain is separated and we know the index of that. That is where the color dimensions are obtained, colored features are obtained.
Sir, can you please explain again what is blob analysis?
Blob analysis is given a binary large object in a background of black and object as white. The analysis generates through a scanned process, left to right, top to bottom, keeps counting the objects, keep noting down their boundary element, because they are object means they are separated already, assuming water shedding if required has already been done. So, it keeps a bins of sort of array generation, wherein it notes down, okay, this is object 1, object 2, whenever the new object arises it adds to the object, whenever the old object finishes, because in a new line a particular object may be finishing, losing the boundary and a new object starting off. So, accordingly at the end of this scan you come to know the number of objects, you come to know the area within that, you come to know their coordinates. When each coordinates are available, you can find the boundary, you can find the perimeter. There are algorithms to find length, as he said, major minor axis generation. So, major axis, minor axis, length, breadth are measured, and these are the geometrical analysis. Simple geometrical analysis is possible through blob analysis. So, it has a set of, most libraries in the development mode gives you blob analysis and a set of physical projected area kind of parameters are possible to be measured. for anything that you place on the background. If it is black, if the thresholding has been done, blob analysis will generate you the list. So, that is one go kind of process available, and Excel sheet kind of processing is possible. Array results are, I mean the details of developments are you can say once you are in the field you know them, how to handle them. So, a sort of Excel sheet gets generated, as you will see later on. So, we will see somewhere the Excel sheet also visible here. The system has to be trained now, it is not end of it. Even with all that measurements, I do not know whether those details are of your interest or not, but just for sake of completeness I am telling you, the system needs to know the training of the dimensions given and the pixel classification done for each grain level, and then the percentages of scores we call them obtained for each grain as grain classification. So, I think if I list them then it will be easier, but to give you feel of training, that I will come to details also. The training means either you apply rules, you are, if you are an expert, you know if this is this percentage, say if the grain is say 80% sound pixels are there and say 1% red pixels are there, 5% chalky behavior is there, or some other whatever rest is say discolored, what will you call it? Who will tell us? If you ask the expert, they will say, I do not know how you have done the earlier classification, you are saying that this much of red, this much of that, I only know that if there is little bit of red, you must classify it as red grain. They go like that, isn't it? So, the way we have done the first stage, they do not know. So, that classification was ours. We just took some analysis and found that they are calling certain grains as red, they are calling certain grains as chalky. We have just put them together, we made a personal. So, there is a lot of personal observation or statistical observation required to make a range analysis. Then we know that all red grains lie on this say range of H, on this range of S, and then reach this range of I. So, HSI model is there, but that gives us only pixel classification. Then after that I know a grain has some red pixels in it, as I said, in terms of percentage. Again that range analysis was required to classify a particular grain, isn't it? I sometimes give an example, if a person has stolen once, we call him a thief because he is otherwise okay, but there is one case of theft with the criminal. Similarly, if they one, I do not know what percentage of red say required to call a to a grain as red. So, red is something like a criminal kind of as they say, it is very poisonous or not really good for health. So, but still some percentage of redness is allowed to a smaller extent. Now, they have given us just samples, we have taken them for training. Initially first we train ourselves, then we generate some data to rule, and then the pixel classification was done by our own analysis. The other classification can be done by rules. Range analysis for rules was easier on the second stage, or otherwise we put all the samples in the neural network and label them. We know that they have labeled us, particularly this measurement has generated the grain as red, this as sound. So, we had some of 5 to 6,000, 7,000 grains with us, where each grain was labeled by them, and we knew that this grain is labeled as this particular class for training of the system. And also, as I said, they were also used for weight calculation. I think the diagram here will give you better feeling. So, we considering all the grains, say many of them were sound, big broken and small broken, chalky, all these grains had different density. You can see though grains are all small broken or big broken or sound, they are all the same grains, but why they are broken? Because their density was different, and why they were broken is it is basically there is a linkage of brokenness with the density as well, and chalkies are very light. So, this is the kind of calculation. We knew that a set of say 420 chalky grains were weighing this much, and we knew the area that we had calculated through blob analysis. So, linking the blob area with the weight available, in a way our density is gram per millimeter square rather than volume, because we are not actually measuring the volume. So, this could be another limitation somebody might assume. We are not actually seeing things in 3 dimension, it is actually a 2 dimensional analysis of a projected image. So, in that situation you will find the discolored ones are the heaviest ones, red grains are also very heavy. is not it, though we had very small number of red grains available with us. So, like that the idea is that they are also part of the reporting, though it may not be appealing to you for academic point of view, but as a problem solving, because they want report in terms of weight, they do not want in number.